Even the Star Wars moments that didn't make it into the films or TV shows for whatever reason can still influence the galaxy far, far away, whether they were rescued in a novel or comic, or released in an unfinished state. Cancellations can be a little hard to bear at times, but to know they still have a place in the mythos should come as some consolation. I'm Ewan, you're watching What Culture Star Wars, and here are 8 Star Wars moments you never got to see, but are still canon. Number 8. CHEWBACCA actually got a medal too, A New Hope. The issue of CHEWBACCA's medal, specifically the lack thereof it in A New Hope, has been the subject of fan discussion and general memery in the Star Wars fandom for quite some time. Chewie did just as much as Luke Skywalker and Han Solo during the Battle of Yavin, so why wasn't he too presented with the Medal of Bravery at the ceremony? Does the rebellion secretly have something against Wookiees? Either way, it's a weird oversight on their behalf, and you do have to feel for poor Chewie as his other pals soak up the spotlight behind him. No wonder he lets out a big scream at the end. CHEWBACCA's missing medal was even addressed in the Rise of Skywalker, where Maz Kanata gives Chewie Han's own, seemingly writing one of the great big injustices of the galaxy far, far away, and yes, that does include all the Bothan spies who died to bring them that information. But, and this is sort of true to form for Episode 9 given the many other things it contradicts throughout the Star Wars timeline, Chewie was given a medal after the Yavin ceremony back in Episode 4, which was first established in Legends material and then brought into the new canon with Smuggler's Run, a Han Solo and CHEWBACCA adventure, which released in 2015. Number 7. The CANTHAM House Meetings, Revenge of the Sith. Jimmy Smits' Bail Organa is one of those Star Wars characters whose lack of screen time belies their true importance. Not only was Bail the adoptive father of Leia Organa, the daughter of Anakin Skywalker, he was also the single biggest driving force behind the rebellion during and even before the burgeoning days of the Empire. Organa's opposition to Chancellor Palpatine was well documented in Revenge of the Sith, where he assists both Obi-Wan Kenobi and Yoda following their respective escapes from Utapau and Kashyyyk, but the final cut misses a scene where the Alderaan senator plants the seeds of what would later become the Rebel Alliance. Joined by Padme Amidala, Mon Mothma, and several other senators who were a part of the delegation of 2000, the deleted scene showcases Bail as he tries to build a coalition opposed to the reforms Palpatine was introducing prior to the formal declaration of the Galactic Empire. It's understandable as to why the scene was cut, certainly, but as it stands, the CANTHAM House meetings are still considered canon and help provide a little added context as to how prevalent anxieties were regarding Palpatine's growing power. Number 6. Yoda's alliance with the Wookiees, The Clone Wars. Yoda is stationed on Kashyyyk when Palpatine commands the clones to carry out Order 66, but volunteers for the mission because of his good relations with the Wookiees. Tarful and CHEWBACCA are clearly fond of Yoda too, as they risk everything to get him off-world safely as the Imperial occupation commences. As it turns out, the Clone Wars animated series was set to reveal more about Yoda's history with the Wookiees, only for it to be cancelled shortly before. The series returned in 2020 of course, allowing series co-creator Dave Filoni and Lucasfilm to finish the story on their terms, but while 3 of the Lost Clone Wars episodes were completed, several were not. Among these was a follow-up to the initial Bad Batch arc that would have seen Yoda and the Bad Batch travel to Kashyyyk to fend off a Trandoshan invasion. The events that take place in the arc are still considered canon, and there may even be a chance it could be finished when the Bad Batch animated series releases later in 2021. Fingers crossed. Number 5. The Crystal Crisis on Utapau, The Clone Wars. The Crystal Crisis on Utapau was another lost arc from the Clone Wars' original cancelled 7th season, and another that is still classified as canon by Lucasfilm Story Group. As Pablo Hidalgo explained when the Clone Wars Legacy project was revealed in 2014, even though these Clone Wars episodes did not get publicly revealed, we still look at those core stories as having happened. While the status of some of these lost episodes is debated, the Yuuzhan Vong are still waiting on their canon debut after their own Clone Wars episode never materialized, arcs like the Rex and R2 one and Crisis on Utapau fit into continuity fairly seamlessly. The latter would have taken Obi-Wan and Anakin to the planet where General Grievous would eventually make his final stand in Episode 3, only this time the focus would have been on the Death Star. Star Wars Rebels expanded upon the Geonosian role in the Death Star's creation, first teased in Attack of the Clones, but the Clone Wars was poised to explore the origins of the Imperial superweapon years earlier, whilst also exploring how Anakin was dealing with Ahsoka leaving the Order. Kenobi and Skywalker travel to Utapau to investigate the mysterious death of a Jedi. In doing so, they discover a conspiracy involving a giant kyber crystal, which they eventually destroy. Yoda reveals to the pair at the end of the episode that there were tales of the Sith using kyber crystals to create immense superweapons eons ago, an ominous nod towards the eventual creation of the Death Star we all know and fear. Number 4. Anakin kills SHAAK T, Revenge of the Sith. SHAAK T is basically the Sean Bean of the Jedi Order, just obviously without the Yorkshire accent. The character has had so many deaths over the course of the last 16 years that you would think that someone at Lucasfilm has it in for the Togruta Jedi, who suffered 2 different demises in Revenge of the Sith alone. T's initial death involved her being executed by General Grievous as Obi-Wan and Anakin attempt to rescue Chancellor Palpatine in Episode 3. That scene was cut presumably because the 2003 Clone Wars series placed T on Coruscant's surface after failing to stop Grievous kidnapping the Chancellor, but either way, another death scene was drawn up, and it involved T being murdered by Darth Vader while meditating at the Jedi Temple. That scene also never made it to the final cut, and the 2008 video game The Force Unleashed revealed T survived Order 66, only to be killed by the game's protagonist, Starkiller. The Force Unleashed was erased from continuity in 2014, and a vision of T's death seen by Yoda that referenced her murder by Vader occurred in the 6th season of the Clone Wars. In many ways, Schrodinger's Jedi, T's death at the hands of Vader was finally confirmed in Star Wars Galactic Atlas, which released in 2016. Number 3. Boba Fett's duel with Cad Bane, The Clone Wars. The Clone Wars animated series focused on Boba Fett's early years as a child obsessed with avenging his father, the one who may not have been as cruel as the bounty hunters he surrounded himself with. LucasArts' ill-fated Star Wars 1313 game was also set to explore his beginnings as a legendary bounty hunter in the gap between episodes 3 and 4 before it was sadly cancelled. But 1313 wasn't the only planned Boba story to become a casualty of Disney's buyout of Lucasfilm. The Clone Wars also had an arc in the works that would have set up Boba's rise as the galaxy's most feared bounty hunter, whilst also resolving one of the arcs of the series' most beloved figures, Cad Bane. The bounty hunter arc would have seen Boba team up with Cad Bane in a plot reminiscent of the legendary John Ford Western, The Searchers. Fett and Bane would eventually come to blows over the course of the episode, which was going to culminate in a classic Western standoff. Number 2. Maul's escape from Sidious, son of Dathomr. I'm going to go ahead and put a big fat spoiler warning on this entry because if you actually want to read the comic, you should do it because it's really good. But anyway, for those who don't care about spoilers, here is Son of Dathomr. First published by Dark Horse Comics, Son of Dathomr adapts a planned Clone Wars arc that would have detailed Maul's escape from Darth Sidious after Season 5, his relationship with the Night Sisters, and an epic confrontation involving General Grievous, Count Dooku, and Mother Talzin, who is revealed to be Maul's biological mother in the comic. Son of Dathomr is a must-read for Maul fans, and while the art leaves a lot to be desired in some places, the comic adapts the unaired arc rather well. Maul's interactions with Dooku, his replacement, are a particular highlight, as Maul tries to convince the former Jedi that he's being used just as he was prior to the events of the Phantom Menace. Maul fails to break through to Dooku, and we get to see him wield the Darksaber against both him and General Grievous. The series also provides important context as to Maul's criminal network, the Shadow Collective, and how he recovered following Sidious's intervention in the previous season. Son of Dathomr might not have been told in the original format the Clone Wars creators intended, but it's still a pivotal arc with an incredible finale that serves as the perfect prelude to the Siege of Mandalore. And number 1, what happened to ASAJJ Ventress? Dark Disciple. Again, massive spoiler warnings for Dark Disciple here. You should really go read it if you're at all curious because it's fantastic and I don't want to spoil it for you. But again, for those who don't care about spoilers, here is Dark Disciple. Lucasfilm Publishing and Del Rey have released some truly stellar Star Wars novels over the last decade, but Dark Disciple might just be the pick of the litter. Prior to the series' cancellation, writer Katie Lucas, daughter of George, collaborated on an arc that would have resolved the journey of ASAJJ Ventress, Count Dooku's former apprentice, and one of the Clone Wars' most important characters. As far as viewers are concerned, Ventress's journey ends on Coruscant, where she's operating as a bounty hunter and carving out her own destiny away from the Jedi or Sith, but there is so much more left to her story that they never got to see. Thankfully, the arc was adapted into a novel, Dark Disciple, written by Christie Golden in 2015, which effectively tells the Jedi Order's darkest moment during the Clone Wars. With the Council growing increasingly desperate and looking for ways to end the war early, they resort to a plot to assassinate Count Dooku. They use Jedi Master Quinlan Vos to go undercover and manipulate Ventress into helping him assassinate her old master, and things go less than swimmingly, to put it bluntly. Vos and Ventress fall in love, and the Jedi turns to the dark side, which Dooku uses to his own advantage, recruiting Vos to be another of his secret Sith apprentices, hey, maybe third time's the charm, maybe, and leaving Obi-Wan Kenobi and the rest of the Council at a loss of what to do. Following months of Dooku and Vos's attacks on the Republic, Ventress eventually sacrifices herself to save her former lover, who returns to the Jedi Order after a period of rehabilitation. It's one of the all-time great Clone Wars arcs, and one most fans are sadly not familiar with. And those were just some of the canon Star Wars moments that never made it to screens. Which one was your favourite? Are there any other cancelled arcs you'd love to see get made? Let me know in the comments below, and while you're down there, it would be great if you could drop the video a like if you enjoyed it, and to subscribe to What Culture Star Wars so you don't miss another upload going forward. I've been Ewan. Catch the latest installment of my compelling Obi-Wan Kenobi ASAJJ Ventress fanfic on Twitter at EwanRuinsThings, if you dare, and I will see you soon. Bye!